Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Fangirls Only. My name is Vanessa Farrow, and here I'm with Ethan Surman. So, how are you doing today, Ethan?
I am fantastic. EP just came out, so I'm feeling good, feeling happy.
So, talking about the EP, so you have your Toronto EP release party tomorrow, and
Yeah.
so even though this interview will be out next week, what would you tell people about this EP and a new era of Ethan?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, honestly, like this EP feels like just like a bit of a time capsule, honestly, from my college experience. I lived in Boston for 2 years, and these songs are kind of like this upbeat vibe that just kind of capture that time of my life. So that's why it's called Homecoming, because it's like these songs that I brought home with me to Toronto, and I finished them here when I moved back home. But ultimately, it's really representative of those years of my life. But it's really just a fraction of the music that I have been working on. So it's kind of just like it's just a little sneak peek at what's really to come, you know?
Apparently, a lot happened in Boston.
Yeah.
All right. So, seeing on your social media, you've had some live performances over the last few months. So, what would
Mm.
you say is your favorite song of yours to perform on stage?
My song 4045 is a really special song to me, and I feel like that's always a really emotional moment in the show. That song is like usually the song we close the set with. That one's really special to me, so I'd probably say that.
All right. So, being a Toronto artist, is there any favorite venues that you have performed at, or any venues that you want to perform at?
Yeah, I think playing at like the Phoenix Concert Theater was a really cool experience. That was one that I loved. The Danforth is definitely one that I really want to play at. That's like a bucket list item for sure.
Danforth is so iconic.
Right? Have you seen any cool shows there recently or
I don't remember. I don't remember the last one I've seen at Danforth, but I saw Tate McRae there in 2022.
sick?
That was a cool one. Yeah.
Fire.
Also, RIP to the Phoenix.
Ah, oh my God, right?
That was wild.
Uh,
Right. So, if your life had an album name, what do you think it would be called?
I don't want to name it at all. That would be the name. I don't want to name it at all. It's funny. That's actually, um, yeah, like it's just this feeling of not really wanting to get stuck in one box. Um, I think people tend to want to label things a lot and label what you are, but like I think there's multitudes within all of us, you know, and I think that there's a lot more to each of our own humanity than just one thing, one name, one version of ourselves. And so I don't want to name it at all.
Mhm.
Would be the name.
Alright. Maybe in the future I'll have an album named that.
I've been thinking about it.
All right. So, what are three things people don't know about your music?
Mm, three things people don't know about my three things. Um, Well, my grandfather was a jazz pianist, and
Oh,
so growing up with him as like an influence on me was a massive part of my kind of upbringing, and that really rubbed off on me. I used to visit his farm when I was in high school as a way to kind of like get off the grid, and he had this beautiful grand piano, so I learned a lot just like listening to him and just like being around him, I guess. So that's one. I think the other thing that a lot of people don't know is that I like produce most of my own music. Like I co-produce it, like I work with other producers, but then I'm like the one playing pretty much all the instruments. Like I'd love to work with other instrumentalists and this and that, but oftentimes I'm the one who's playing. So I play guitar, bass, keys, drums. Like I've been doing that for a long time. So I think that's one aspect of it. And then third, something people don't know about my music that I have a lot that's unreleased.
cool. Can't wait for those. So, if you had to choose one song of yours that would stay on your set list forever, what would that song be?
It might be an unreleased song that I've played a couple times. That one's really fun, but it might honestly be it might be 4045 as well, to be honest. I already said that, but it's just such an emotional moment. Like it's just so fun, and like every time I play that, it brings me back into the present. It takes me out of my head and brings me back to the show.
So this is the last question and one of my favorite questions to ask people. So if you were to have your own music festival like Coachella, what would the headlining artist be and what would the festival be called?
Great question. The headliners would probably be like Tame Impala, Dominic Fike, the Beatles, and we'd bring them back from the dead,
Right.
featuring Stevie Wonder and David Bowie, all on one stage. And Bob Dylan would make an appearance, but he would be a hologram, so it would be like young Bob Dylan when he before he got like, kind of mad at everything and mad at the world. So that is what it would be.
It'd be
Who's your
Timothy Chalamet.
Sorry?
It'd be Timothy Chalamet. Because
Sure,
wasn't
we can bring him. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's playing Bob Dylan in the movie, right? Yeah. So that is what I would have as the headliners, and then the festival would be called Almost Lonely Festival because you were almost lonely because you almost didn't come, and then you
yeah.
came, and you had the best time of your life, and you were never lonely again because you got to see Tim Paula and Stevie Wonder and the Beatles back from the dead.
That was great. All right, so that was all the questions. So thank you so much for coming on. It's great having you.
Pleasure. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
No problem.